10,000. That is no manifest cancer. But only when you increase the amplification 10,000, then you have a native tumor. Now, D4 is not cancer, but you must increase the amplification, and when we say amplification 6,000, 7,000, then cancer is present, not below, not below. And I had so many cases in the last years, because more and more patients come to me for cancer treatment, and therefore I have a lot of experience. And 5, 6, no more, 10 years ago, I referred my patient to the clinic too, with D4. And it was a great disappointment, or perhaps it was good fortune. They didn't find anything with D4. And oh, it was terrible, and I lived in a very small town, and so everybody is here, the Dr. Cornelissen gets crazy. Because always referrals for cancer, and there was nothing. And oh, during the night, what is the reason? And then, does the MORA device, or here that doesn't work? And then I found here, it is D4 means 10,000, and only 10,000 times 10,000, you have one, and one that is native cancer. And therefore, but it is not necessary, or it is dangerous, only with 10,000 to refer, but we say from 6,000 amplifications, there may be cancer. There may be cancer, you have to do something. No? Yes, and when and now 80% metastasis, you keep in mind. And then most patients, they come to me after surgery. That is the more important phase, to avoid the metastasis. And then when they come to me, I test carcinoma, for example, breast cancer. I test carcinoma D8. And then I test all the medication. You will see the medication. I test them, and after 6 weeks, they must return. And then I measure again. And when it goes up here, and here, D30, for example, congratulations. You are out of the acute phase here, and you are in this direction, and here, D30. Congratulations, but we must work again and again. Here, you can stop here for half a year, D60 or D100. And it depends. Sometimes they come many kilometers far away. And yes, one moment, please. And yes, and then here, congratulations. But when I test D6, oh, you must do all the things you can imagine. And we test again, and he must take a lot of medications, and one of the best ones is curcuma to avoid metastasis. And I think of curcuma. And now
I want to know the following story of that patient that you refer to the other clinic. Can you?
The story
of that patient following after you have been referred.
No, there was not one patient. Again and again, I referred to our hospital, and it was a village, and there was only one hospital, and there were only four doctors, and so we know, everybody knows the doctor, and they laughed at me. They mocked about me because of my referrals.
And then the patient got release tumor line finally.
No. I didn't remember. I must not. I don't know. Yes, it could be, but I lost the contact to the patient, and yes. And here, here, I hope there is nobody here who is suffering from a degenerative process, but nevertheless, I will check one of you only to demonstrate how it works. Here and here and here, then you, and therefore, it is much more exact here, this method, than school medicine. And as I will show you, yes, for example, and that is another advantage. Here you have the mama tumors, the good ones and the bad ones, the malignant ones and the benign ones. And here you see nosode fibroadenoma mammary. That is benign. It is blue. It is benign. And so when you test the breast, and then here you will test, for example, this one, 3 or 4. That is a rule. And then you quantify, and then you have no response. For example, here mama cirrhosis, that's a very malignant one, very bad one, and will disappear. And at the end, only, for example, here mama fibromatosis, they will rest, and that is a benign one. And then you go to progesterone or like that, or yes, in most cases it is or high environmental toxins and so on, but it is a good one. Only by quantification you can decide, is it perhaps a tumor or not. You understand? Therefore, I gathered in this test kit, I gathered the good one and the bad ones. Therefore, and by quantification, and then here mama mastopathia cystica, and in some cases they can switch to a tumor, to a real tumor. By quantification, the major burden should be determined.
How many the amplification quantified?
Yes, we start here. I start with 100.
100.
I start, and then perhaps with three substances I will have a response, and then I go to 500 or 1,000, and then all the bad ones will disappear. I hope. So, and only here the mama mastopathia cystica, and it is almost always connected with progesterone, with a deficiency of here, this one here. And it's wonderful how to test it. And yes. And here, and what does the conventional medicine do? Conventional medicine, here. When there is a tumor of 1 centimeter diameter, then you have 1 billion tumor cells. 1 billion tumor cells. And when you carry out chemotherapy, and the chemotherapy, the rate of elimination should be 90%. That is a high percentage. And but 100 million tumor cells will rest. 199%, that is an illusion. The chemotherapy can eliminate 99%. But nevertheless, 10 million, that cannot be the solution of the cancer problem. Cannot be. And therefore you go, and therefore you have this range. Therefore, you have this range. And that's, I think, a portion or a part of the solution of the cancer problem or the after surgery problem. That is the solution, this chart. And not this one. This one. No? Here. Look here. 99.99 elimination rate. And nevertheless, 100,000 will survive of the cancer cells. Yeah. And I think that is convincing that we must find other ways, other solutions. And yeah, chemotherapy only here, leukemia, Hodgkin disease, good effects. And with children we have the defect. But they don't ask with children, here, this. Do they ask for electricity? No, the conventional medicine. But here, that is melatonin, a deficiency. Because during the use, the cell development is very fast. Very fast, children, they will grow. And therefore, they are very disponible for the leukemia. Leukemia always test melatonin and always test electrosmog, electricity. And but there is a good effect, but the other effect, certain effect, breast cancer or early. No, forget it. And then, oh, it is. I had to be more sure. I developed other, other substances for checking the tumor. For example, the DNA. The DNA. When the DNA D6 tests positive, then you have a good DNA. Then the DNA is without any harm. But when you have a response to D200, there's no DNA. The DNA is rotten, is down here, and therefore it is bad here, D200. And here, blue is good. Blue is good. And then, yet we will speak about it because every cancer cell produces left-turning lactic acid. I will explain it afterwards. Lactic acid, one moment, and you see here, when you have acidum lacticum, LM6, it is a very, very low, very, very low, then it is a good sign. When there is no, not a high amount of lactic acid, left-turning lactic acid. And therefore, here is LM6. LM6, that means the lactic acid is absent, is not there. And but when you have acidum lacticum D2, that is a lot of lactic acid, and that is a hint that a cancer cell is present or the tumor is active. And here ATP, you know, it is good when here it is D4, I don't know at the moment, and so you can differentiate again, but it is not necessary to do that every time. But no, you have a lot of hints. Is it a cancer? Is it no cancer? You can shed it, but nevertheless, it is sufficient when you use here this one. And for special cases, there was here before I started here to I started to Taiwan. There was a doctor, a gynecologist, and he was suffering from prostate cancer. And it was clinically detected. in the clinic. Those 3 days. But he had a very young and very pretty woman. And so he didn't want to undergo surgery. And 2 years ago, he came the first time to me, and I prescribed. Prostate cancer is not a case for direct surgery. You can prepare the patient for the surgery, and then we did it. And he take all the medication, a lot of medication. But every time, every half a year, he returned, and I measured again. And always one step higher here in the other chart. Ne? And he was very happy. I was very happy too. And that was an evidence that more works as a testing. And this time, last week, and I couldn't test anything. Only a little hypoglycemia. And so he was a gynecologist. Then I tested here all the all these, and because I say the problem is solved and you can return in 1 year, and 1 year that is sufficient. And then I test all these points, all these points, and but generally you can miss it. No, praktische Demo, yes, and there is nobody is here. Thomas is not here. Then it's you are here. I want to have a little break here, testing.
Yes.
Only a little break, and I will show you how to test the efficiency of medications. Of medication, and when there is anybody who wants to know whether his status of prostate or colon, he wants to know, I can do that. But at first, is there anybody who has a problem with the skeleton, with joints? Or with joints? Yes. We can here we will test